You're listening to the sounds of your lifestyle improvement station.
Hi, Shamika Chapel, College Park, Georgia, in the house. You're listening to SIBN Radio.
Hi, this is Ted Bones calling from Richmond, Virginia, and you're listening to the Lifestyle Improvement Station, SIBN Radio. Y'all turn it up now.
Hi, this is VJ Washington calling from Atlanta, Georgia. You're listening to the Lifestyle Improvement Station, SIBN Radio. So turn it up.
Hi, my name is Sonia Claiborne from East St. Louis, Illinois, by way of Columbusville, Missouri. You're listening to the Lifestyle Improvement Station, SIBN Radio. Turn it up.
What's good? It's your boy Joe coming from Snellville, Georgia. You're listening to the Lifestyle Improvement Station, SIBN Radio. Y'all turn it up.
You're listening to the sounds of your lifestyle improvement station, changing the way we live. SIBN FM. Powered by Summit USA TV. You're listening to the sound of the Coach's Corner. Ready, set, go. That's right, DCC. Are you ready for the hardcore motivation, daily inspiration, and sure up your spiritual foundation on DCC? If you want more on the go and you need to know, www.415-96radio.com. Join us there as we cheer you on to the finish line of life. This is not your mama show. This show is for the new generation of those young men and women who know and realize that I've done enough foolish things, I've made enough mistakes, and now it is my time to accept the philosophy of DCC. And that is I am the common denominator to every situation. Join me at www.415-96radio.com. That's www.415-96radio.com. And follow me on Twitter. You're listening to the sound of the Coach's Corner.
I want to ask you a question. Who's coaching you? Who's asking you the tough questions? Who's telling you, man, you're the common denominator to all of your issues and challenges? Who's telling you, man, all day long you become the magnetic pulse that attracts to you both good and bad? I want to be your life coach. I want to be the one that cheers you on to the finish line. I want to be the one that you ask the tough questions. And it doesn't mean that I have all the answers, but that means that you have a partner, someone who believes in you, not the you see right now, but the you can't imagine, the you that you are to become, the you are destined to be. I always say we both need the positive and the negative. It's not enough to have the knowledge of the matter, but we must have the wisdom as well. For wisdom settles it. And that's what I want to offer you as you join me on the Coach's Corner. I want to offer you the wisdom of the matter. Maybe it might be relationships, talking about our campaigns for more, for life, the dark room of our subconscious, our spiritual journey. Whatever it is, I want to be there to encourage you, to build you, to challenge you, to cheer you on to the finish line. I'm qualified to do this. Why? Because I'm you. Well, thank you for joining us for another of the Coach's Corner. My name is Martin Select. This is another challenge for you to find motivation, inspiration, foundation, encouragement. Thank you so much for your participation. And as we approach the microphone, we accept the fact that we have made mistakes and we are yet to make mistakes. But we deserve the right to earn another chance to speak. Today we're going to be talking about creating economic increase your cash flow personally and or in your business. So we trust that somehow we can say something. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube at Select USA TV. That's SELETTE USA TV. SELETTE USA TV. And don't forget also to send your questions to global coverage at SelectUSATV.com.
Responsible, accountable. Who taught you that? My daddy taught me that. That's right, the new book, all the way from Asheville, North Carolina, representing the legacy of Benny Lake, is Keenan Lake, the author of My Daddy Taught Me That, the book and the program for young men in Asheville, North Carolina, and throughout the region. Tune in to the program, the project, and the book at MyDaddyTaughtMeThat.com. For more information, email lake@MyDaddyTaughtMeThat.com or call 828-582-2261. That's 828-582-2261. MyDaddyTaughtMeThat.com.
Well, we're back here. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you guys. Long time no hear from some of you. And as we move forward, we trust that we can continue to motivate you. Don't forget now to visit our websites respectively, www.sibntelevision.com, where you'll find, that's our mother site, where you'll find most information for interning and also just whatever we're doing. It's on www.sibntelevision.com. And then don't forget, we have the sister site, www.sibnatlanta.com, where we are featuring those news stories that we have covered in the southeast region of the United States and beyond. If you want to join our media registry, global media registry, then you can visit us at www.WeSupportSelectUSATV.com. That's www.WeSupportSelectUSATV.com. That's all right, DJ. You can bring that up. That's good. That's good. Okay. All right. Cash May in the background. You know how we roll. You know what I'm saying? Informal. And so www.WeSupportSelectUSATV.com. You can go there, register with your Facebook, and then become a part of the support group. We got some great news coming up soon on SIB in Atlanta channel. So you want to stay tuned for that. But let's get right to work. We're talking about creating economic capital and increasing our cash flow. This is Coach.
Even though my wrist past due, I'm gonna buy a new pair of shoes. Been slaving, working 2 and 3 jobs while life's steady passing me by. Steady hearing everybody's problems, bending backwards, even trying to solve them. But it's weighing heavy on my mind. Time to step away so I can handle mine. I only get one life, so why should I stress and be upset?
When I talk about creating economic capital, thank you, DJ. When I talk about creating economic capital, I'm talking about that as the economy seems to rebound, and it's a stretch. It's a stretch. The growth in this economy has been slower than ever. It has been slower than ever, and so part of what we all are learning to do, those of us who are not born with a silver spoon in our mouths, is how to create economic cash. And one of the things that people have on their list to do to create capital is to reduce their debt. But sometimes that does not work. I don't know if there will be anybody out there that will agree with me on this one, but there's good debt and then there's bad debt. The bad debt is the things that we frivolously buy in an impulse situation, because we're trying to patronize a feeling, and instead of dealing with the root causes of those feelings, we keep buying things so that we can feel better, but we never really feel better permanently. We feel better temporarily, and so we buy these things to pacify, if you will, the moment of pain that we continue to experience. But then, in my view, this is just my opinion. This is not something I read out of a report or something like that. But then the good debt is the money that you are spending in an attempt to manage your way upward. The money that you are spending, that you are attempting to manage your way upward. And so those expenditures or those expenses tend to be things that are business related, such as services, such as products that will propel your business idea, even if it's home-based, to the next level. And those debts are, in my view, this is just my view again, steps of faith, because as you take steps of faith, all of your steps will not be debt-free steps. You're going on your way up the ladder, and you're creating your next new reality. And so there's this tendency to do several things that I'll talk about in a minute. But first, I think that if we look at our money and our debt in a different light, I mean, I grew up with Larry Burkett, who has since passed now. Grew up with several individuals who talked about debt freedom, management of credit card debt, and so forth and so on. And I must admit, it's very difficult in these times, especially in the last 7 to 8 years, to stick with it with a budget, because if you notice when you go to the grocery store, everything has gone up: bread, milk, juice, eggs, cheese, beef, even turkey, everything. Cereal has skyrocketed. Ice cream, cookies, chips, dip. For those who drink beer, wine, everything has gone up in price. Everything has gone up in price. And in the last 5 to 10 years, income on the middle class has stagnated. And while the Republicans, don't mean to get into it, but one of their statements is that the welfare rolls have become heavier with the poverty level United States residents mooching, as they say, off of free services from the federal government. And we can debate all that, but the point of the matter is the Republicans is mixing a lot of truth and statistics with that, because while the services for the poor has increased, the stride for the middle class has decreased. And you and I, if you're in the middle class, whether it be middle class or lower middle class, are trying to create economic capital and increase our cash flow personally and or in our business. And so the first, as I said, thing that we have to consider is how we look at our debt, and to be sure that we're not carrying around a guilt trip because we have to charge something. I'm just keeping it real. But to make sure that when cash is generated, that we are paying those bills as fast as possible, and the like. So, and there's consolidation issues that you can talk about, where you can bring all your credit card debt. There's refinancing of your home. There's making sure that you're buying a car that has a high resale value after a number of years or a number of miles. There's all that also that you could manage differently. There's, if you're at 50, joining the AARP, there's making sure that you have a relationship with your local credit unions versus your local banks, who are not apt to lend as they used to be 10 years ago. And so you have all of those things. And I know that for some of you that are budget conscious, you still have to have a budget. But, for some of us, you're trying to create economic capital because you know and have noticed that you haven't gotten a raise in 5 years. You haven't gotten a raise in 10 years. You see what I'm saying? Or 7 years, or even 3 years for that matter. So those individuals are trying to offset the additional cost that the economy now bears down on their families and on their businesses. And they're trying to do it, whether they're selling cookies, cupcakes, or whether they're selling printing services, T-shirts, whether they're offering administrative services, or whether they're creating nonprofits to try to move their passions and their missions and their causes over and build support that way, and on and on and on and on. Photography, videography, and on and on and on. So these things, should be open for more discussion. But today, there's a couple of things I want to pass on to you after the break. Let me just give you a preview. Number one, I don't want you to panic. One of the things that I have been practicing, along with changing my perception and realizing and understanding that my most dominant thought is my next reality, the second thing that I would pass on to you, other than changing your perception of your debt, is to ensure that you stop panicking regarding your finances. We'll talk more about it after the break. This is Coach.
He's got mine. We have our ups and our downs, just like you. So how dare you frown? If you care, here's my wish. Just pray for our relationship. Call me crazy, call me silly, call me dumb.
It's not enough to have material wealth. The measure of a man or woman is from the inside out and not from the outside in. Don't trick yourself. You will wreck yourself trying to impress others and trying to keep up with the Smiths and the Joneses. It's about time that you start looking at the finish line. And at DCC, we offer the hardest core motivation, daily inspiration for your spiritual foundation that you can find. Why? Because our philosophy is simple. We are the common denominator in every situation.
I'm Nomvula, aka Sunshine, and we here in South Africa are tuned in to SIBN Radio at www.415-96radio.com. If you would like to know more about the SIBN television and radio network, complete a contact form at the website www.415-96radio.com. Salet USA TV, reaching the world.
All right, thank you for joining us right here on the Coach's Corner on SIBN Radio. Marcus Salet at the microphone, admitting that we have our challenges and errors in life, but we move forward anyhow, despite the accusations, to insinuations and situations, and trying to encourage you regarding your CEC, your creating economic capital. Everything in life has gone up in price except for your salary. And for those of you that have young people that are in your homes or that you've reared, or even brothers and sisters, younger siblings that have gone out into the workplace, they can testify that it is very difficult to find suitable employment regarding the debt that they may have or the debt that they may be incurring as a college student, particularly, and also as a mom or dad, or just as a citizen that has everyday bills such as cell phones, rent to pay, and things of that nature. And so we talked about right before the break that we want you to look at your debt differently, because if your debt holds you in fear, faith would not be anywhere near. Let me say that again. If your debt holds you in fear, faith will not be anywhere near. And we got to have faith. We got to keep the faith, as Tavis Smiley says. And so we want to talk to you about panic. We panic when we look at the numbers and we run the numbers. We panic when we think we have $1,000 coming in one month, and then the next month, that $1,000 is not on its way in. We panic too much. And this panic takes us out of our focus, and it minimizes our momentum. And so what I have been practicing, and what I want you to practice, is to stop panicking in thought and in deed. Because when you panic in thought, then you're going to panic in action. You're going to panic in real life. And it's not that serious. First of all, when I look at the spectrum of success, and I see people succeed at doing some of the dumbest things you can imagine, talking about some of the stupidest things that have no value. They release some of the craziest songs that have no respect. They release some of the craziest products that if you would have just imagine yourself in a creative mode, could have came up with, but you didn't. But it's not that serious where we have to put more negative energy, if I could say that, into the situation than it already has within it. If you want to change your CEC, then you have to be calm and carry on, as one famous quote that floods many offices and homes. Be calm and carry on, because the power of positivity is through creative thinking. The power of positive thinking is through creative thinking. The thought process, creatively speaking, there is no boundary, there is no limit to what I can accomplish and to what I can create as my next reality if I'm walking in faith and I have the right perception, and if I am not operating from panic mode. And for instance, I was watching a commercial recently, and this young lady on the commercial said how she paid her bill on time to a particular insurance company for years, and many of you have. And she had one accident where she just, tapped a bumper, and all of a sudden her insurance rates went through the roof. And so I think that the pattern, and you probably could find that there's several studies online, which made insurance companies change their marketing strategies to release this creative way of insuring not necessarily high risk folks. Those people have accidents all the time, but people who are more apt to not have accidents, they're giving this thing called quote unquote accident forgiveness. I thought that was interesting. I thought if $1 billion, $1 trillion industry could create a marketing strategy and a marketing service and a service that allows those that are faithful, those who are responsible, to have accident forgiveness, then we ourselves need to have economic forgiveness, because all of our debt, as I said, was not incurred in a splurging moment. And if it was, it's never too late to turn that around. All of us are facing a economic squeeze. And I'm telling you, it's hitting everybody who is below that 2%. If you're not getting it in taxes, then you're getting it in low wages. If you're not getting it in low wages, you're getting it in inflation. If you're not getting it in inflation, you're getting it at the educational desk, because education also has skyrocketed. So there's no need for a guilt trip about what you're coming up short on. There's no need to feel bad about your situation. What we want to do now is we want to move over to a more creative mindset, because as I said, our next reality is our most dominant thought pattern. And most of the equipment that's in my studio was not purchased because someone in the radio land or in web TV land said, oh, I believe so much in what SIBN is doing, I want to donate $50 a month. I mean, we welcome that. But most of it was purchased, to be honest, because when we perceived that we could not do without a piece of equipment, we stepped out on faith, and we did not have the budget for it, and we acquired that through either outright or payments, and now that equipment is paid for. And this network would not have been designed if it was going on a budget after we spent about $60K of our own money and realizing that, now we need to have a media studio. We had to turn around, we need another $50,000 or more. And so my point to you is, we wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be hearing us, and all of the programs that we have would not have been instituted if it was based on budget theology alone. We had to have faith. We had to watch our dominant thought patterns. We had to make sure that we were stepping out. For those of you that are word-oriented, you know that faith without works is dead, and that word there in the Greek insinuates that it must be the work that corresponds with the faith step. In other words, if I have faith for a job, I don't go and just stay at Starbucks all day. You see what I'm saying? The faith that I have must have its own corresponding or works that's fitting for the step that I'm taking. I need some help. It must be work that's fitting for the step I'm taking, and not just stepping and then working independently of one another. They must coincide together. They must be interdependent together in order for my faith step to work. And so I stop by, as the Baptists say, to encourage you regarding your CEC. You got to create capital by changing how you look at your debt. And yes, there are other management issues that I mentioned are something to look in. Creating relationships with your community, community service banks, or your community credit unions rather than the mainstream banks may be something that you want to look at. Trying to get some education on interest rates for your credit card, doing some consolidation, making sure that your car purchases, your auto purchases have a higher resale value, making sure you're maintaining the vehicle that you have while you're believing for something bigger or new or whatever the case may be. Those things also can be discussed. I don't have the time to discuss those things today. Making sure that we're not splurging to pacify a feeling or a damaged self-concept and trying to impress her, them, they, and him, I mean, really. And coming back to the ballpark and playing the game at hand, the game of life at hand. And saying, you know what, I need an extra $100. So what I'm going to do is this. And as I've stated in the past, as soon as you decide that you're going to do X, Y, and Z, here comes negativity to oppose that. Some people call negativity a devil. Some people call negativity this. Listen, I don't care what you call it. If you try to do anything good, you're going to be opposed. Something's going to come to interrupt you. Something is going to come to try to minimize the momentum on which the wings of momentum are all the resources. And resources come to a vision on the move. So there's something that's going to come. I don't care if you decide to bake cookies. The oven may go out. You run out of flour. It falls on the floor. The oil spills over. I mean, something crazy always tries to happen when you're endeavoring to create a solid CEC mindset to increase cash flow for the purpose of paying off your debts, as well as being able to live and build your business concepts. And so I want to encourage you, don't panic. And the last thing that I want to say to you is follow through on what you said you would do. Faith without works is dead. The work that you assign to the faith step that you take must coincide with the activity that you said you want to see happening, the new activity you want to see happening. Phone calls, emails, interest in your product. Here recently, we had to step out of our marketing zone, which we had, 4 years invested in, and step into the same zone, but step, 200 miles, I want to say 200 miles northwest, if you will. I'm just using that as an example. I don't know if it's northwest or northeast. We had to step out our range 200 miles and go to another city and pitch some of the things. And guess what? The response is overwhelming. So much to the point that the legal department has to come up with agreements quickly so that we can make sure we can be prepared for these new opportunities. What am I saying? Your CEC has to be intact enough from a mental capacity to a physical capacity of following through with what you say you're going to do and the reality that you say you want. What is the reality that you want? Ask yourself the question and write down the answer and be honest about that answer, because your next reality is on the board. You're next up. And if you're able to integrally answer the question, then you're able then thus to create the reality and then thus be able to prove that negativity will not win. I so appreciate you stopping by. Don't forget now, support me on Twitter at SelectUSATV. On YouTube, you can go to YouTube and type in SIBN Networks to see the repertoire of work that we're doing. And by all means, hit me up on Facebook. Again, this is Marcus Select for the Coach's Corner. Whatever you do, hug yourself. Take one step at a time. Don't panic. It's going to be all right.
Ustedes están escuchando SIBN, transmitido por Salet USA TV. Síganos en Twitter, @SaletUSATV, o visítenos en www.41596radio.com.